Let's talk about marketing. What if your best strategy wasn't about shouting louder, but about connecting deeper? Today, we're going to explore a really powerful, human-centric alternative to that endless cycle of ads. We're breaking down how genuine appreciation can completely transform your business.
So much of marketing today feels like a shouting match, right? Everyone's just trying to be the loudest voice in the room. Advertising absolutely shouts for your attention. But gratitude, well, gratitude does something totally different. It whispers. And that whisper creates a connection that's way more powerful and definitely more lasting. And that really brings us to the most important question you can ask yourself. With all that noise out there, which message is actually getting through? Which one are your customers not just hearing, but, feeling?
Okay, so first, let's get real about the situation for most businesses. Let's talk about the ad spin trap. It's this constant, exhausting battle for visibility in a world that is just unbelievably crowded.
I mean, think about it. You pour a ton of money into a campaign, a billboard, a social media ad, whatever. It might grab a little bit of attention for a second, but what happens the moment you stop paying? Poof, the impact just vanishes. It's temporary, it's impersonal, and you're always just one of 1,000 other voices screaming for that same customer.
So what's the alternative then? Well, it's about shifting our entire perspective. It's about moving away from just thinking about transactions and toward building genuine connections. It's remembering that there's a human element in business.
And that brings us to this core idea, relationship marketing. Now, this isn't about some complicated sales funnel or a fancy algorithm. At its heart, it's really just the art of building real, long-term bonds with the people, the actual human beings who choose to support what you do. Your customers are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're people. And just like all of us, they want to feel connected, they want to be recognized, and they want to feel appreciated. When you can tap into that basic human need, you're not just selling something anymore. You're actually building a community. So how does this actually give you a real-world advantage? Let's dig into what we can call the gratitude advantage and look at exactly why this approach is so much more effective in the long run.
It works because it taps right into our basic psychology. A personal, simple act of gratitude just cuts through all the marketing noise because it's so rare and unexpected. It makes people feel genuinely seen and valued, not as a dollar sign, but as a person. And that feeling? That builds a foundation of trust, and trust is the absolute bedrock of real, unshakable loyalty.
And here's where the magic really happens. When your clients truly feel that you care about them, their whole behavior changes. They stop being just repeat customers. They actually transform into advocates, like a volunteer marketing team that goes out and tells their friends and family all about you.
Now, I know this all might sound good in theory, but let's look at a real-world example. Let's see how incredibly powerful this can be when you actually put it into practice. So, our story is about a local realtor. She was working in a brutally competitive market, up against these huge agencies with massive ad budgets. She knew she couldn't outshout them, so she decided she was going to outcare them instead. Her process was, well, it was beautifully simple. Every single time she closed a deal, she'd use a service to mail a personal, heartfelt thank you card. Not a generic email, right? A real, physical card someone could hold. And that small act wasn't the end of the transaction for her. It was the beginning of a real relationship. And the result? Her business from referrals didn't just go up a little bit. It absolutely skyrocketed. That one simple, scalable act of appreciation grew her business way more effectively than any billboard or online ad campaign ever could. Why? Because people remembered her kindness. It stood out. So the big question is, how can you take this amazing principle and actually apply it to your own work? Well, the good news is you can start today, and it really doesn't require a huge budget at all. I mean, just think about these simple acts of appreciation. Sending a card after a big meeting, celebrating a client's work anniversary or a milestone, even just remembering a birthday. Sometimes all it takes is a simple, specific, heartfelt thank you to make all the difference. It's these small, consistent gestures that build real, emotional connections. An ad can't make someone feel personally valued. A banner ad can't make them feel remembered. But a simple, thoughtful card, it absolutely can.
I want to leave you with a thought that really just sums this all up. Advertising. It's all about finding your next customer. But appreciation, that's about keeping them in their networks for life. So the final question to ask yourself is this: are you building your business for just a moment, or are you building it for a lifetime?